The majority of Malawi's population lives in rural areas, so about 80% of Malawians live in villages. Most of these villages are agricultural centric or are fishing villages. In this video, I will explore one of the fishing villages called Cape Maclear, also known as Chembe Village by the locals. It's one of the most visited villages in Malawi by tourists. Cape Maclear is located in the south end of Lake Malawi. It's about a 3-hour drive from the capital city, Lilongwe. It's home to Lake Malawi National Park. Because this is freshwater, you can do a lot of activities in it, like snorkeling, scuba diving, and kayaking. There are quite a few smaller islands nearby, perfect for hiking. Cape Maclear is shared by both locals and tourists. One side of the village has hotels, so it's usually where the tourists are. You can do a lot of water activities on this side, and the other side is where the locals reside, but both locals and tourists have access to the beach. The majority of the lodges or hotels in Cape Maclear are not owned by locals. Even the hotel I stayed in is actually owned by South Africans. Even the higher ranked Malawian owned hotels are usually partly owned by the government. So the majority of the locals still rely heavily on fishing. This is a typical street in Cape Maclear. As you walk along the street, you will see local business stores and people's houses. Over here, someone is selling sweet potatoes just outside their house. It's quite normal to sell goods outside your house in Malawi because on the roads you have a lot of pedestrians and you're not required to have a license to be able to sell. The atmosphere is very chilled, so I had a few kids come up to me as well just to say hello. They may just say hello and then walk off.
Yeah, my God, district, yeah.
Okay.
District Cape Maclear. In the village.
Here are some of the souvenir stores and you can see some Malawian art. This is one of the ways which tourists can support the local community. Every sale really goes a long way. Since Cape Maclear is considered a village, a lot of basics are hard to find. So if you decide to visit Cape Maclear one day, I recommend that you have all your basics with you. I'm not sure how safe is the drinking water in Cape Maclear, but I would recommend that you bring your own water filter. The streets are very close to the lake. If you take up one of the alleyways, you will easily see Lake Malawi. Some of the locals still don't have access to running water, so they come to the lake to do their washing. This side of the beach is close to where the residents' homes are, so most of the times it's used by locals. Tourists use the other end of the beach where the hotels are. This is the fish market, so when the fishermen are done with their catch of the day, they would sort the fish here and decide on what to do with it. Depending on the fish type, they would either dry it, smoke it, or they would sell it fresh. Most of the fish is transported to the rest of the country to wholesalers and individual buyers. Engaging with local fishermen and learning about their traditional fishing methods can provide cultural insights. You can also rent equipment to do some fishing, so there are some regulations to protect some unique fish species. Lake Malawi is renowned for its variety of fish species, many which are unique to Lake Malawi. Cape Maclear has a tropical climate with a wet and dry season. The dry season is between May and October. The wet season is between November and April. Temperatures are the same between the seasons, ranging from 24 to 30 degrees Celsius. The only difference is that it rains in the wet season. But due to climate change, this has been changing year by year. Even though the weather is very unpredictable, I would still recommend to visit around the dry season because when it is raining in the wet season, the lake floods and some of this flooding can affect the lodges. So to be safe, I would just go when it's highly unlikely that it would rain, which is the dry season. This is the Cape Maclear preschool. I was actually such a distraction to the kids, they stopped paying attention to their teacher and started staring at me. I guess it's because I had a camera with me. So I ended up teaching them what I know best.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Yes! Okay. Do you know how to head, shoulders, knees, and toes?
You must do head and shoulders, knees and toes, eh? You must see it.
Yeah. Okay, so head, shoulders, knees, and toes. 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 Head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
Yeah. Say kanyari boala. Say na kanyari boala. Kanyari boala. Say na batse ikwe.
This is Cape Maclear Primary School. In other countries, this would be called an elementary school. The building style is typical for public schools in Malawi. As I was walking, one of the teachers approached me and asked me a few questions on what I do and who I am. Then he asked me to encourage the kids to stay in school.
Pode falar uma de novo com Towera,
The teachers have really good relationships with the kids. They know about each other's families. Even the sun sets in paradise, but beautifully, of course. While the sun sets, fishermen stay in their sorting areas to preserve their catch. Most don't have fridges to store the fish, so they can only preserve it by either drying or smoking it. The fishermen won't leave the sorting areas until they preserve all of their fish. Wow, I love these ones. I've tried these ones before.
You've tried that one?
Yeah, they're nice. They're so delicious. This is a traditional handmade Malawian oven. It's mainly used to bake scones, bread, and cakes. Every night, bakers in Cape Maclear bake to sell for the next day. In this case, they are about to bake some scones.
You know, our culture, pounding is connected with women. Fisherman is for us, gentlemen.
This is nsima, the Malawi national dish. It's made of corn flour and water. You can have it with meat, vegetables, or fish. Since most of the men do the fishing, the women are usually at home preparing dinner and looking after the kids.
Try it.
Oh, to pound it?
Yeah.
I don't know, I might ruin it.
No.
And the dinner table usually looks like this. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and please comment down below and tell me what you think about Chembe Village. Please also like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!